After finally finding the time to sit down and watch Boku no Hero Academia, I definitely had to do a review because this for episode, it was definitely pretty good. And of course, with me now doing a review of an episode, I will definitely be, reviewing this series for its entire duration, of the season. And so right now, this show starts off focusing on a character named Midori or Midoriya, and this character is what is known as being quirkless, as he was born without any special abilities, because we see now that in the beginning when this guy was very young, there was some boy being picked on by these other three boys who had quirks. And of course, Midori, who's powerless, he was definitely scared, but at the same time, he was standing up to these three bullies. And so one boy was named Kachan, or his real name is Katsuki, and this guy had the power to make explosions. And then there was this one chubby boy who can grow wings, and there was this other boy who had the power to make his fingers grow really long, and that right there was kind of creepy. But we see now that these boys, they actually attack Midori in place of the boy they were picking on previously. And so right now, even though this boy was born quirkless, he still wants to be a hero. And we see now that on his way to middle school, there was some incident going down where some villain was causing havoc, and this guy, he looked really strange. I'm not really sure how to describe his appearance, but he was quite large. And we see now that there were these heroes who had came down to stop him. One was called Death Arms, who uses strength to actually carry out justice. Excuse me, I'm still kind of sick here. There was this firefighter kind of hero whose name was Backdraft. And there was this wooden ninja named Kamui, and this guy was freaking awesome. Sorry, I don't know why now that I actually want to review. I'm now coughing like crazy. But we see that while they were all trying to actually contain this villain, and it was mainly Kamui, because Backdraft, he was keeping the civilians at bay, and then we have Death Arms, who was making sure that the debris wasn't falling on somebody. And so then we have Kamui, who was getting ready to take out this villain, and then out of nowhere we just have this giant woman come out of nowhere and just kick this guy down. And so her name was Mount Lady, and she was now making her official debut. And so now with her getting all the credit, obviously now people will be talking about her. And so now with Mountain Lady, obviously, she is definitely a fan service, kind of hero, because obviously she knows what the guy's like, and she was throwing her ass out there. And so that right there, sorry about that, guys. I was having a really bad cough attack, so I did have to stop right in the middle of my review. But back to what I was saying about, Mountain Lady. She is definitely a fan service type of hero, because she definitely knows what the guy's like. Because when she poked her butt out like that, you just see all these guys taking her picture, and right now everybody will be talking about her. And even now she will get all the credit and the money for turning in this villain, because we know that these heroes, they're actually paid by the government for doing that. And so we learn now that this hero phenomenon, it started a few years ago, where this baby was giving all of this light. And so we see that after that, all these people were awakening all these abilities known as quirks. And even now, these people with these abilities, they actually became heroes. But at the same time, there were also bad people who also got these abilities, and obviously they became villains. And so right now, where we have Midori going to school, we see now everyone but him actually has a very special ability. And so we see now all of them were going to enter, in a what's called a hero course. And we see now that boy who's a bully, back in his childhood, Katsuki, he actually wants to go to he actually wants to go to the top hero school, which is called the what they call the UA, something like that. Like, I still don't know what that stands for, but obviously, you know, we will learn about that. And so apparently this guy, he's definitely good, because not only did he like pass the mock test, but he definitely, you know, has that drive, and it even seems now that his dream is to actually surpass like the poster boy for all heroes, who is All Might. And so right now, Koski was saying how everybody, you know, in the classroom, they are basically scrubs pretty much. They are on his level, because he's going to that top school, while they're obviously, you know, like not going to one, you know, so popular, because that school actually has, you know, a very high drop rate, and it's definitely tough to like get in. And so we learn now that Midori, he actually wants to go to like the same school as well. And at first everybody was like laughing at him, but then Katsuki, you know, being a dick, you know, this guy was like once again bullying him. And so after school now, we have Katsuki once again picking on Midori, and we see now that at one point, Midori actually has like this little like hero notebook, and eventually Katsuki actually, you know, messed that up by trapping it, you know, in an explosion, and then tossing it, you know, out the window. And then we see now, you know, then we have Midori getting so upset, and I thought maybe he would like actually do something, but no, you know, like once again, Katsuki was like able to like make him back down, and that's one thing I definitely don't like about the character, you know, so far, you know, just how like weak he seems. But obviously, you know, like being the main character, he will definitely have a lot of opportunities to actually grow. And so at one point, while like all the students were in school, there was actually this like slime looking villain who actually appeared and like robbed this store. And so then we see now, you know, everybody was like calling for help, but at one point they were like no heroes around. And so we see now some kind of like scrawny looking and we see now some scrawny looking guy walking out, and then out of nowhere you like see him like buff up, almost like in a Hulk like transformation, and this guy became All Might. So I definitely wonder, you know, who this guy exactly, and like how in the world, you know, can he do this? Because we see now later in the episode, it seems like he cannot maintain this form for you know, a very long period of time. And so now we see that while Midori was like walking, you know, like home from school, I'm guessing, we actually get this flashback of his past where he was like, you know, very young, and this guy is a very big, you know, like All Might fan. And so we see now, like, there was this popular video going around that Midori actually loved. You know, it was like when All Might first appeared, and he saved all the people from like a very serious crash. And so we see now when his mother, you know, put up the video, because she said that right there was like too intense for her, so she actually couldn't watch it, you know. And we actually saw All Might in action for the first time. We see now later at a doctor appointment, it was confirmed, you know, that Midori was like quirkless, because apparently whenever somebody has a quirk, a bone or something like in their foot actually, you know, actually gets, you know, or become missing, I should say. And so we see now, because he had all the bones in his feet, he actually was like quirkless, and obviously he would like never awaken to one, even though like everybody else in his grade already awakened one. And we see now that even his parents had one. Like his mother, she could move small objects, and his father could actually, you know, like breathe fire. And so if he did have one, it would awaken by now, and he either would have had one of their powers or some kind of a combination. And that right there would make, you know, like very interesting if he did, you know, like was able to awaken to like that kind of power. At least in my opinion, would be. And so we see now, like, and we see that after he learned how like he was like quirkless and should like give up on becoming a hero because it will like never happen. We see now that the next time that he watched that video, of All Might, he was like just so devastated. He looked broken inside. You can see now at one point his eyes they were like just filled with tears. And even his mother, like just felt so bad for him. All she could do was just like, just hug him and say sorry. And so now, from like that day onward, he actually like made up his mind and decided to like, like hold his head up and just never give up. And so we see now that when he entered this tunnel, that's where that villain actually, like came from. And so now this guy was like planning on actually taking over, his body and use it as his own. Sorry about that. I was like waiting for that. I'm waiting for that motorcycle to actually pass by, because that right there was like definitely loud, and it's still loud even though right now it's like pretty far from where I live now. But regardless, back to the anime, and so we see now that where this slime villain was like going to like take over, his body, and was like getting close to it. That's where we have All Might appearing, and then we see now when he used that Texas Smash and actually used wind pressure to not only save Midori, but to actually blow that slime monster body apart. That right there was like actually pretty badass. And so now with Midori now saved, he actually fell unconscious, but he did see his hero now save him. And so right now we have All Might trying to wake him up, because obviously he was like definitely getting concerned that that Midori like something could be wrong with him. And so right now when Midori had woke up, he was in shock, and it was hilarious how he was acting, because right now the guy he idolized was like right in front of him, and he had no idea how to act. But then when he realized he should like get his autograph, that's when he saw that that All Might already did that, and that right there was like pretty nice as well. And so now All Might, he was like going to leave, but of course he was like going to turn that monster in. And so right now Midori, he had to act quick, because right now he has so many things that he wanted talk to him about. And so we see now that when All Might had left, all you see is just Midori hanging on by his leg. And I definitely knew that right there was like going to happen, because there was no way Midori would like let this chance slip by. And then you see that while they were like in the air, and All Might was trying to get him to let go, but obviously he cannot do that, because if he did, he would die. We see that at one point there was like blood coming out of All Might's mouth. So I'm thinking maybe All Might might not be a natural born quirk. It's possible that like maybe he did get like that quirk or power from like some kind of experiment. Because obviously, like there is no way he would like bleed randomly when he took no damage. And of course he mentioned how like he was out of time. And so after that, he had dropped off Midori on like the roof of a building and was like going to leave, because obviously now he had ran out of time. And so we see now that oh my god. And we see now that before he left, Midori asked him, if it's possible for like someone quirky like him to actually become a hero, like All Might. And we see now that right there is where the episode ends. And so we learn now that in the preview, that the slime monster, he will definitely get free and cause trouble. But at the same time now, we learn that, that All Might, he actually can't use his power. So obviously, like something going on with him, and we definitely gotta learn what it is soon. And so overall for the first episode, to me, this right here was like highly enjoyable. Obviously, which why I'm reviewing it, I definitely liked it. Like the pacing to me, it was definitely good. Like very, very easy to follow. We saw a bunch of heroes, and of course we got, a ton of action as well. And so obviously I definitely want to know, like, just how in the world can Midori, a quirkless, like a human, can become, like a superhero, especially all these outrageous ones that we have seen so far. But of course, let me know what you guys thought. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And also the opening and the ending. I gotta say, I definitely like both. I will probably watch both of them, like week to week. But as always, guys, don't forget to show your support by liking and subscribing. And as always, you gotta take it easy. I will see you all next time.